Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Josh Korb. I'm from Eastern York High School, and what I'm going to do today is talk about the universal design for learning and how it integrates perfectly with our already pre-existing assistive technologies. So first of all, what is universal design? So by definition from CAST, one of the forerunners of universal design is universal design for learning, or UDL, is a framework to improve and optimize teaching and learning for all people based on scientific insights into how the humans learn, how the human brain actually learns. So there's actually three different sort of networks that the brain works from. We have the why of learning, which is the affective network. We have the recognition networks that fire off in our brain. That's the what of learning. And then we have the how of learning as well. So we're going to go through these one by one. We're going to start with the engagement. Then we move to the representation, and then we move to the action and expression. And for each one of these, I'm going to provide some examples and some tools that we can already use in our classroom to aid our students in this universal design for learning. So starting off, before we begin, let's talk a little bit more about UDL guidelines. The UDL guidelines provide a structure to support the design of curriculum to address this neurological variability. So we know that all of our students are different. We know that they learn differently, they interact differently, and they process information differently. So we need to be able to cater to those needs and differentiate our instruction using this universal design. So by providing multiple means of representation, action and expression, and engagement, those are the three areas, the three networks of the brain that fire off in this learning process. In the curriculum from the beginning, all students can become expert learners, which includes being resourceful, strategic, and purposeful towards a goal. So this is more than just learning. This is more than just a process of learning and content given curriculum. This is actually teaching them a process to follow that they will have the rest of their life. So creating these productive members of our society is really what we're trying to do. And so we're trying to move these people, move these learners, move these students from passive to a more intentional, motivational learning. And also UDL is about pedagogy. So UDL is based on three simple understandings. Again, before we get into the actual UDL of it, learning is different across all tasks. Learning is different across development, and learning is different across individuals. So everything, we have all these working pieces that are trying to fit together to fill up this puzzle, which is the learning process. So understanding these understandings, these three simple rules before we begin is imperative. So first of all, let's talk about the recognition networks, the what. So the goal of the recognition network is to present information and contents in different ways. Because our learners interact with content differently, we want to be able to present in not just one way, but multiple ways. So we provide options for perception, we provide options for language, mathematical expression and symbols, and then ultimately comprehension. So this is representation. It's how we gather facts and categorize what we see, we hear, we read, and just how we interact with our content. So providing multiple different realms or multiple different mediums of this process allows us to cater to the needs of multiple students all at once. And how do we do that? So here are some examples. So we can use visual presentations, we can enlarge text, we have audio text support, we have multimedia presentation, hyperlinks to content, background knowledge, definitions, we have pictures, screencasting. All of these help this recognition network fire off multiple ways, multiple different times. So even a student can get a content or get a piece of information one way, another student has the opportunity to see it a different way or in a different light. So this is the representation or the recognition network. So some tools that we can use, and you're going to see this one multiple times throughout this presentation, and that's Google Slides, Docs, and all the other Google tools that we use as educators. So the Google Apps for Educators suite is sweet, so to speak. We also have Speak It, which is a text to speech app that we can use on the Chromebook. Is what we're using in my district, but Speak It is a great tool to use to. And instead of just looking at it visually, we can have the auditory aspect as well. We have Explain Everything, a great app to use. We have YouTube, Windows Movie Maker, or if you're on Apple's, we have Apple Movie. We have Edpuzzle, Educanon. So all of these are different ways that we can utilize this recognition network and describe the what of what we're learning. So this is the representation stage. Now we move into the how. So the how goal, or the strategic network of the brain, is the ways that we're looking to differentiate the ways that students can express what they know. So we're trying to provide these options for physical action, expression and communication, and metacognitive functions. So we are planning and performing tasks. So we want our students to actually do something with the information that they're gathering. So not just passively, but interactively understanding what's going on is really imperative to this learning process. So action and expression stage, we can have our students be writing essays or solving a math problem or just working through a strategic task. And a huge part of this really is propelled by this whole STEM movement, science, technology, engineering, and math. So when we move into this, when we move into the physical aspect of it, and we're trying to solve multiple different problems multiple different ways, we can really hone in on this action and expression model of the strategic network of the brain. Moving into some examples, we have graphic organizers, we have podcasting, we have screencasting, multimedia tools, so a ton of different ways that we can have our students interact with the content in a whole different way on a much deeper level. We also have modeling, where, especially in math, I'm a math teacher, so we use mathematical modeling all the time to try and solve problems. We have drawing, we have digital learning portfolios, so to encapsulate the entire learning process, we can use those. We have graphs, collages, etc. Some of the tools that we use, we have Google's Docs, Slides, etc., the whole suite again. Podomatic, we can create podcasts, we can create screencasts with Screencastify. We have multiple different websites where we can present information. We have Explain Everything again, and Real-Time Board is a way that we can collaborate with our students online in real time on this sort of blank canvas. So graphic organizers, this is the way to go. We have then, lastly, the affective network, or the why of learning. And this is really the key part, because if students aren't motivated to actually learn the content or interested in learning the content, what's the point? So stimulate motivation and interest for learning is the goal. To provide options for choice, relevance, and authenticity, we have sustaining effort and persistence and self-regulation. So those are the options that we want to provide our students. Because if we can provide those options, students feel like they actually have a part or an ownership in education or what they're learning. So how learners get engaged and stay motivated throughout the entire learning process is what we're looking at here. So how are they challenged? How are they excited? What are they interested in? What are they passionate about? And those are the things that we have to think about as educators when we're creating this lesson. Are you just creating a generic question, or are you actually picking on and bouncing off of ideas from our students? So when they have a part in the education process, they're much more apt to being more engaged and more motivated to reach a common goal. We have examples here as well. We have audio and visual. We have hands-on manipulation, so anything that we can do that's physical for our students. So understanding the why. So you have these launch activities or these warm-up activities that really engage the students. WebQuest, project-based learning, inquiry-based learning. So anytime that we can have our students try and solve a problem, a real-world problem that's happening, they really start to take ownership of it, and they're really motivated to try and solve it. We've also cooperative projects. You want to introduce students to this idea that they're working with other people, they need to interact with other people appropriately, and really use their time wisely. So how learners get engaged and stay motivated is what we're trying to do here. And the tools that we can use, again, we have YouTube is a great tool to use as launch activities. Wikispaces, so you can sort of keep a running log of what's going on. I've used this in my class. Wikispaces is huge. We sort of collaborate on this at the beginning of class, and we discuss what we're going to do. We have a goal in mind, and mapping it out and really planning and brainstorming together is a great way that we can use this affective network. Google Docs, Slides, etc. Again, the whole suite. We have back channel chats where you can keep students engaged throughout the entire time. We also can use learning management systems to sort of motivate and engage our students. And then in addition, I don't have it written here, but any other external resources that you can bring in, people, things, objects, anything that you can introduce to your students that might get them engaged, that might get them excited about the learning process is really useful in this universal design. So lastly, what I want to do is try and connect this to assistive technology. And the main thing here is that assistive technology isn't getting replaced by the universal design for learning. It's actually working together. So the farther left that we go here, we're reducing the barriers that students have to access information and access learning and increase their learning potential. So if we incorporate both the assistive technology, the already present physical or educational resources that are needed for those students who need assistive technology, and then introduce this universal design for all learners, for all learning, we can really create this nice balance between the two, and they play off of each other wonderfully. And this brings me to my last point, in that UDL does not eliminate the need for assistive technology. Children with disabilities will continue to need AT devices such as communication aids, visual aids, wheelchairs, anything that's going to help them in breaking those barriers down is still going to be there. They really need to be able to interact with the environment for UDL even to take place. So UDL then helps to ensure the maximum inclusion of children with disabilities into the full array of learning opportunities that are available to all children. So it sort of bridges this gap between the haves versus the have-nots. So what we're trying to do here is build this relationship between UDL and AT to really hone in on our students' specific needs and provide them with the best possible education that we could possibly give them. So this has been Josh Korb. Here are my resources. Feel free to message me if you have any questions, or write a comment in the description. And thank you for watching.